Box 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on social media and self-esteem. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Social media is coming under growing scrutiny for having an adverse effect on the mental health of girls and young women, especially with their body image. While there are many positive aspects to these digital platforms, there's also a growing cause for concern. The seemingly perfect images of ideal faces and bodies are more smoke and mirrors than reality. But the pain they cause girls and young women who fear they don't measure up is all too real. Dancer and social media influencer Valentina Canas performed in music videos for Marc Anthony and other stars. She recalls her lowest point as a teenager.
I just started doubting myself a lot. Like, am I really how they say they say I am, or do I really look like that? Like, am I really this? Like, I was just questioning myself and like how I really am.
What girls see on their phone screens can have a powerful negative impact. Internal research done by Facebook, the owner of Instagram, found that 1 in 3 teen girls believed Instagram made body image issues worse. Bullying was also a factor.
They could give the kids and parents filters so they're not seeing all these potentially hurtful images.
Not all social media is harmful. It can be fun, promote healthy relationships, and even generate income for savvy users. But when negative comments or images are reposted, they can re-traumatize the girl being targeted, says Dr. Scott Krakauer.
The harm can be very serious. It could be that they could develop, again, they could develop like severe anxiety. They could go through a terrible depression. And again, they can feel like it's just a trauma sometimes that could happen from it.
There's a lot more to this. Let's find out what our panel has to say.
Joining me is Dr. Scott Krakauer. He's an osteopath and child psychiatrist with Northwell Health. Dr. Krakauer, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
We appreciate it. Can we call you Dr. Scott for the show for short?
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody, that's fine. People call me Dr. Scott. Yeah.
Great. Also joining us is Cherie L. Smith. She's the editor-in-chief of Laptop Magazine. Cherie, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Also joining us is Valentina Canas. She's a social media influencer. You can find her at Basic Valentina. She's also a dancer. Valentina, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate it. Cherie, I want to start with you on this. In terms of this new information that came out about the connection between social media and self-esteem, what can you tell us about that?
I mean, it's something that I think everyone kind of knew for a while now, but it's just that it's being put in writing, that it's been studied and it's been confirmed that social media can have a negative effect on young people, particularly young women. There's just so many ways to cultivate this perfect life and to make it seem like everything is fine and, oh, she's so pretty or they're so pretty. And it's just a lot of smoke and mirrors a lot of the time, especially with the power of filters. So when you are living your life looking at retouched or filtered images, you start thinking that that's how you're supposed to look in real life, and that's a level of perfection. Perfection is unattainable. So when you keep seeing these images, that's what people are going after.
And they're thinking about that. Dr. Scott, in terms of your practice, tell us what you're seeing, especially among girls and young women.
I see that they're on social media a lot. Sometimes, look, there have been some situations where they felt like social media got them through the pandemic, that they felt that they were able to connect with others if it wasn't for social media, because again, there wasn't that in-person communication. They learn about certain things from each other. They learn about events. They get certain information. And then on the other hand, on the flip side, is that at times that they felt that it's been too much, too intense. Sometimes like feeling like, I don't know, like that they feel like they're missing out on certain things because of social media postings. And I think that actually really has impacted their self-esteem. And at other times, they've even seen situations where there's been, unfortunately, like bullying through various accounts. They don't even know who it is that's bullying them. So again, a lot of different things with social media, some goods, some not so goods. And I think it's definitely, a good discussion today.
We need to be taking a look at it, and that's what we're doing in this show. Valentina, tell us about your experience. You're a dancer. You're also very active on social media. Explain to us, what does a social media influencer do?
Okay, so I've been on social media for a while now, ever since like middle school, but I started taking it seriously about a year ago. And my life has completely changed. It obviously has its pros and cons. I've been able to meet a lot of people, get new connections and stuff like that. It's my full-time job now, thankfully. So I get to live off of that. But on the downside, it comes with a lot of, like he said, like bullying and just a lot of hate and negativity. And I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues for about like 4 years now. But obviously I've gotten better, but social media kind of like, it's mentally draining sometimes because, you have, aside from like expecting to be like a certain way, you have all these like people that are also hating on you and like just like bashing on you, like literally for no reason, because like they're just hateful. They just want to like bully. And it's hard sometimes because it's really mentally draining, but it's also really fun. And like um, about 2 years ago, when I started dealing with mental health issues, like not so bad, I literally had to stop wearing makeup. I had to stop editing my pictures because I got to a point where I was looking at myself and I was like, I didn't even recognize her, because I was always editing my pictures, always like putting up this like fake, like, persona. And that's not who I was. So for my own like self-esteem, my own self-love, like, I had to realize like I have to stop doing it. So like on my platforms, I'm always trying to be really raw and like just really real to people because that's what people like.
Dr. Scott, in terms of the age group we're talking about here, like around 10, 11, 12, there's a lot of people on social media at those ages. What does that do to girls and what's happening at that stage?
Yeah, I do see that, and I see that at those ages, I think they're highly impressionable. I think that they are getting mixed in with other age groups, and they're looking at certain things, maybe a certain person that maybe they shouldn't even be exposed to. And then in a lot of ways, in general, I feel like they're very, very vulnerable. Again, like with the girls of that age group, as they're starting to hit those teenage years, they're starting to look at to see what others are doing, what's going on with their lives. And I think sometimes it just invokes a lot of feelings within themselves. Sometimes just like wondering maybe that they're not good enough, or maybe that they want to aspire to be like this other person. And in a lot of ways, it almost gets carried away to the point it becomes so fictitious that it's not even like you're living in a real life. So again, that those ages are pretty impressionable. As they hit the teenage years more, when you're hitting like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, then you start getting more active. They're learning more about their events, places that they should be going to. Again, like fear of being missing out on things, or even intentionally being left out of things.
We'll be back right after this.
Valentina, tell us, like, how old were you and what were some of the circumstances that led to you really questioning, what am I doing on social media and what is it doing to me? Like when you knew you were kind of getting in a little danger zone there for your self-esteem.
So I think it was about like 3 to 2 years ago. I started like dealing with a lot of self-love issues. I was in a toxic relationship and a lot of like just bad things happening. So I think because of that reason, and like also seeing all these pretty girls on social media, I wanted to be like them. Oh, I have to look like this. My waist needs to be like this. My body needs to look a certain way. My hair, everything needs to look a certain way. I think it was about 2 years ago that I finally came to a realization like, okay, I have to stop because if I continue, it's gonna just make my mental health even worse because I had already gone through therapy. I've been through a lot of mental health issues prior to that. So that was just making it so much worse for me. So I had to like kind of snap out of it and be like, okay, you're beautiful the way you are. You don't have to look like that. There's no like, you don't have to have the small waist. You don't have to have like these beauty standards, that everyone expects you to like look and like talk and all these things. So like I said earlier, had to stop editing my pictures, had to stop using filters. I literally just like take pictures and post them, and it's for myself. I had stopped wearing makeup for that reason too.
Cherie, what do you think about that as a woman when you hear what Valentina was going through?
I mean, I think I definitely can relate. Like everybody has ups and downs. I've been in a toxic relationship. I've like people like relating with people, and that's what social media is supposed to do: bring people together on like-minded causes, and like build your little communities. It's not supposed to be this idolization that we're doing and using it for now, or this bullying.
In terms of the mental health of the girls, of these teen girls and these preteen girls, how severe does it get? Is this like a topic, just a topic we're talking about, or does it get really severe where it affects them and they need treatment?
Oh, it can get very severe. So the truth is that, I guess what goes on the outside, you may never really know in social media. What goes on the inside, you can have internal turmoil, feeling like you're not good enough, that lack of self-worth wears on you, and then you can develop almost into this depressive state that you can't get out of. Highly anxious, worrying a lot about what other people think, and then just into this sort of negativistic kind of feeling, even though girls have actually reported to me that they'll show themselves as smiling online and being happy. It's not always the case.
Are there long-term effects too?
I do see long-term effects because I do feel, again, every case is different. So I do feel if there was a traumatic situation that happened online, that's where I see more of the longer-term effects. Those effects, like these kids wouldn't stop saying something around me, or they made a comments to me about my weight. And then now I'm still where I'm at right now. I'm still counting calories. I'm still in this situation, even though it happened almost 8 years ago. So you're looking at adults, I actually see, they're young adults, and they still think back to that time when they were in middle school where these girls were saying things to them.
Middle school seems to be a real rough time.
It's a rough time, but the thing is they can't get out of it because it's online, it was posted, they see it. It's not like the older days where you didn't have it. Now it's there and it's sort of still in your face, and repostings. So
Right.
What do you do with all the repostings and then the re-trauma? It's almost like getting traumatized again. That complex trauma you can develop from these repostings and things that happened years ago. You can't escape it sometimes. And that's where I see some of the longer term effects.
Cherie, let me ask you this. As a very successful businesswoman, as a woman of color who's groundbreaking in a lot of areas, especially in this whole tech field, do you feel that social media is distorting women, especially young women's value system, where instead of like get an education, get a career, make your moves in business, it's about look a certain way so that you can get the likes and get the money that way and not really have, the credentials or the experience or the training or the education?
At the end of the day, it really comes down to the parents. And like, I am very thankful that I am not a teenager, a tweenager, whatever you want to call it, growing up in this era where all of my mistakes could be documented. But I am also thankful that I had that serious support system in my family and my outside family. Like there was, when I was in school, particularly middle school, we had a program for young girls called Images to build up your self-worth and to let you know about body images and to say that like maybe if you were thinking about being sexually active, to talk about that, like have those things. It is really, really important that the parents or the guardians or whoever is there are constantly watching and shaping what young people consume and put it into perspective. Because if without that perspective, yeah, you're right, people are going to think, oh, if I just look like this, if I get that BBL, or if I get this breast lift or this facelift, or if I look like this and my baby hairs are laid and all of this, I'll get that. That's not really guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And hell, I'm about to be 41. I am a member of the Chunk Squad, big and beautiful, baby. Like, and I'm a geek. Like I get like people say things all the time, but I'm a grown woman who has had who had that support system, so I can brush that off. But I can't imagine getting that type of vitriol 24/7. So it's really, really important to have your feet grounded in reality and know that online life is just that, online life. It has nothing to do with your actual reality.
Valentina, have you had support from your family, or when you were going through like your darkest times? Tell us how you got out of that and how you made it through that.
So about like I said, 4 years ago, I started dealing with all those mental health issues, and as a Hispanic, growing up in a Hispanic household, my parents didn't really like believe in like mental health, and they just thought like it can just go away. It's not really like a thing, you know. So actually, back then, I had to deal with it on my own. So it's kind of like that's why it's kind of easy for me to deal with things right now because I've been independent in that way, dealing with things on my own, going through depression, anxiety, panic attacks. Like I had to go through like a lot of things, even dealing with like something called derealization. Like it was like really, really dark for me. And I had to go through it for like about a year and a half until I got therapy finally, until my parents kind of started believing me. But when they started believing me, yeah, I got 100% their support. And like I obviously, like I opened up to them, they opened up to me and stuff like that. And even recently when I'm getting all this hate, like I'm always calling my mom, I'm calling my boyfriend, or like I'm just getting support from my friends as well. Like they're always being really supportive and reminding me who I am, because like she was saying earlier, a lot of like people's mistakes now are just put on social media. So it doesn't really matter like if you said you're sorry, if like you're not that person anymore, it will be there forever, and people will still hate on you and will try to bring you down for those reasons. And it kind of sucks because, you know, like people make mistakes. I'm human. Just
Of
because I'm a
course.
social media just because I'm a social media influencer doesn't mean I have made mistakes in my life. I've grown from them, but it doesn't mean that I have to be pinned down for it, or oh we're gonna cancel you. Like cancel culture sucks. Like it's literally the worst thing, and like they'll literally do everything in their power to hate on you and to cancel you and to like literally destroy your career. And so, but having the support that I have from my family, friends, and boyfriend is the best thing, because I obviously you're the only person that can help yourself. You're the only person that can really get yourself out of things. But having that support and having people cheer you on, telling you like to keep going, to not give up, remind you of who you are, remind you of what you're doing, it really helps. Because if I was doing this alone, I wouldn't know where I would be. To be honest, it's really really hard.
No, and it's great. It's great how you've survived and thrived and are creating your own destiny right now and really speaking out on the show to help other people. We really appreciate that. Dr. Scott, what advice do you have for parents? Because we heard Valentina say she was in her teens when she started having these panic attacks and these other very severe and scary symptoms. What advice can you leave us with for parents?
I always tell the parents, be supportive of your kids as much as possible. You know, you want to be there for them. You want them to feel comfortable where they can open up to you. It's obviously really tough years. Like parents have come up to me and told me, I just don't even know what to do. Sometimes they feel like they have too much information on their plate. But at the same token, it's like if the kid can't open up to you, then you're never going to really know what's going on. So you want to be supportive. You want to know who their friend group is. You want to feel like you want to be actively involved with them. Like know who their friend group is, if they're going out with their friends, trying to figure out where are they going, where are they going to be next. So just this way, you're not overdoing it. I don't want you to feel like if you're a parent that you're kind of have to micromanage them, because that's not what the kids want. And certainly it's going to backfire on you. But at the same token, as long as you have an idea of where your kids are going and what they're doing in general, then they'll feel like they can be more open and honest with you.
It always comes down to the conversation and the communication. Cherie, in terms of in terms of the girls, what message do you have to the girls who are watching this right now, in terms of accepting self-acceptance and just really staying strong and true to themselves?
Basically, you're beautiful no matter what you look like. Like there's nobody else like you. That things do get better. Like everybody has their awkward phases. Everybody messes up, but it's how you rally from those failures is what it defines you as a person. It's really what's on the inside. Your character is what counts.
Definitely. Cherie, thank you so much. Valentina, what advice do you have for the girls that are watching this, and for the women too, about in terms of handling the stress or pressure of negativity that comes their way?
So like I always tell my supporters, I just want to tell you guys that it's gonna be okay. Like as much, I know it's kind of cliche to say and like kind of hard to believe, but I've been through so much in my life enough for me to be here right now and tell you that it's gonna be okay. Like the only way like from being down is up. Like you can only go up from there. Like you hit rock bottom, the only way you can go is up. And so I just encourage anyone who's watching this to really keep going and pushing and keep being strong, because as many things as much as bad things can happen, a lot of good things can happen as well. So you can't be discouraged when things like that happen, because when there's rain, there's always sunlight, there's always rainbows, you know. So you have to remind yourself that there is a better tomorrow, and even though you're dealing with things right now, it's gonna get better no matter what you're going through or no matter what's gonna come ahead. You just have to keep focusing on your goals and what you're doing this for, and yeah, just keep believing in yourself because you are strong enough.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on social media and self-esteem. You can watch it again and share it on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page. I'm Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind as your best weapon. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.